everybody, it's Phyllis in Connecticut, and I gratefully weigh and measure my food. I write it down, I call it into my sponsor. I don't eat in between no matter what, and abstinence is the most important thing. Boy, I am nervous today. I have a slight little headache, but it's okay because I decided this morning when I weigh and measure my food, that's all I got to do. I've had 2 abstinent meals. I've been on, this is my 3rd Zoom meeting, and that's all I got to do. I've made a few different commitments, and actually my abstinence date is July 16th, 2000. It's amazing to me that I could do any diet, way of eating, and be successful for any amount of time because that's not my history. But I don't want to dwell on before I walked into Gray Sheet, but I want to show you guys a couple pictures of me on vacation. This first one is some, I don't know, island. You might not be able to see me too close up, but I was quite large. The second one, I was on a cruise, and this is with my son who's 15, quite large. I am 5'2", close to 300. I was close to 300 pounds when I got 12 stepped into the rooms. And you know something? Honestly, I never liked myself. I had a childhood of middle-class working people, and they did the best they could. I never had that feeling that the hugs, the kisses, the words, but we had the best food going, and we had snacks, and food was love. I came from a line of compulsive people, compulsive overeaters, and I heard if only you lost weight, you had such a pretty face and all that. I never felt comfortable in my skin either. I remember becoming a teenager, and I turned 65 in December, and I became a teenager, and I was never comfortable as 12, 13 years old because my genetics are like my mother. I will never be that small person. I will never be that 2, 4, 6, 8. I think I was a size 10 for about 2 months. And now I just filled out to be the way I'm supposed to be. In high school, I met my core group of friends, and that's where I learned to smoke pot. That's where I learned to drink before the legal age. That's where I drugged. And that's where I had sex. I never liked me, and I was always looking for a way to like me or not to be me because I didn't even know who I was. I went away to college in Florida because I needed to become me, break out of that crowd, Anyways, I just want to talk a little bit between like college, my first husband, and a little bit. That's why I said the first 5 minutes. So I went away to college. I came home from college, and I re-met my husband, who was my cousin's best friend. And that was it. We were a couple after that, and we partied together. He came from Italian descent, where his grandmother loved me, and it was a whole new world of food. 7-course Christmas Eve dinners, and they were just so loving. My family just loved each other, and everybody was included. And again, it was all about the food. So we got married. We lived together. We got married. When I was 25, I had my son. In September of 85, Hurricane Gloria struck. My husband was 31. I was not yet 30, and he was killed by carbon monoxide poisoning. I got a phone call in the middle of the night. My life became a Danielle Steele book, As I drove up to the hospital,
You have 5 minutes.
and he was gone. I never lost all the baby weight. And so, of course, what else was I going to do? Just eat. I gave up everything else but the food because now I was the sole parent of this 5.5-month-old baby. The next, uh, the next 15 years, I did Weight Watchers, I don't know how many times, and I still probably owe them points because I was never honest. I did Nutrisystem, and the food was disgusting, terrible. I bought that food. I ate it, and I was hungry. So, and through all these times, I was gaining weight. And I was dating men that weren't worthy of a good relationship. And I wasn't good. I felt I wasn't good enough for a worthy relationship. Um, my mom died during that time before I got abstinent. She was 63 years old and she died 27 years ago. And I have regrets that she never got to see me, the abstinent person, to become the person that I've become thanks to GreySheet. I ate my way through my husband's death. I ate my way through my mother's death. I ate my way through my son's first 15 years. A lot of the grief I don't remember the first couple years of my husband's death. My primary purpose at that time was raising my son. I worked a full-time job and all that. So today my primary purpose is to carry on the message. So when I stepped up to share yesterday, I really didn't want to be timed because I don't like my voice, but it's the message, and I'm glad a lot of people here know me that I've had the pleasure of meeting because it's not always the voice. My primary purpose is to carry the message, and it can be done. If I could do this and lose weight and keep the weight off, it's worth it. So I'll be timed. And yesterday I heard a newcomer who had 4 months of abstinence who found us on the website, on the GSA website. So everybody showing up, everybody sharing, everybody doing service carries the message. And I just want to say, shout out to my buddy D, who celebrated 35 years today, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be in this chair. She's carried the message all this time. When the Connecticut community dwindled down, she was there. And because of D, I am sitting here. My best friend from high school worked with D. D 12 stepped, I hope you don't mind, just nod, but D 12 stepped one of her coworkers in who my best friend had worked with. Come to find out, my best friend Karen worked with D. D had lost all her weight. Karen didn't know D was a GreySheeter. And D 12 stepped my best friend's coworker in, and I had the gift of desperation. That was my higher power, who I choose to call God, got me to these rooms. The student was ready, the teacher appeared. My son was at camp at age 15, and I called this girl and I said, "What do you do?" And of course she said, "What do you eat?" was what I asked. And she gave me a quick rundown, and the message was, "Come to the Westport meeting Saturday, I'll meet you." I went. Why? I never went to another 12-step meeting. No, I take that back. I went to one OA meeting where nobody embraced me. Nobody told me what the 12 steps were. They were all very overweight, and I walked out without a diet and without knowing what the heck was going on. So I was like, well, this doesn't work, because I had no idea what it meant. When I went to the Westport meeting, I went upstairs. I walked into a room of thin, happy, joyous, free people, and they were smiling and laughing and talking. And it was July. I was wearing stretch pants because they weren't even called leggings then. They were Black. I was the fattest in the room. And anybody who knows me, I am just passionate about this program because this is
Your
the
10
only
minutes.
thing that's worked for me. And I gratefully do this. I walked out with a sponsor. I heard a professional woman who shared her experience, strength, and hope. I walked out with a sponsor. I walked out with a gray sheet and somebody telling me how to do it. The next day, I went over my sponsor's house, who only lived like a street over. She was Cambridge abstinent, showed me her postal scale, okay? Showed me how to do the sawdust, showed me all this stuff. Well, I've had a number of sponsors just because, but the benefits of the program, there's so much I can say. I just want to say, in my 20 years of abstinence, I have clarity. You know, I stayed at my job for 41 years, 20 of them, 1 year retired now, 20 abstinent. And that is just a miracle. As I lost the 7, 8 pounds a month to my self-esteem went up as my weight went down. I found clarity. I was able to be seen and heard, and I was able to develop into the person that I was really meant to be. You know, these rooms and this abstinence has given me a life that I can't imagine. You know, I've learned to make outreach calls, and it's kind of like it's hard picking up that phone. But I've met so many people here. I can call anybody, and even new people, and just say, so I really don't want to do this. It's hard, but what's for dinner? Or what's your favorite meal? Or how are you? To get out of how am I? You know, I have to go see a doctor, and I made this commitment yesterday. And I called first thing in the morning, and they said, how about 4 o'clock today? And I knew I'd have to leave at 3:30. And I said, oh, well, you know what I said? Because I'm here. And I hung up and I said, oh, I made a prior commitment. I can't do it because I made this commitment, and I hate to not do service when I'm asked to do service. So I want to carry the message. I got married 10 years ago in abstinence after being a widow for 25 years. Who would have thought? Here was a guy who knew me from high school. He missed the 30 years in between of the weight gain and all that. And I needed to be abstinent because here's this man who never drank, who's not an addict. I am an addict through and through. I more is better. I've had to change from the big fruits to weighing all my fruits. So I've stopped looking for bigger. I now weigh everything. So I don't care if it's that half a thing is the size of a bowling ball, 8 ounces is 8 ounces. And I've had more fun with people on this line, on the line, listen to me, on the phone bridge I've met, in these meetings. I've connected with so many people that I've met at our Connecticut retreat. I went to Malibu. Someone on this line hooked up with me and took me to her house. I've met people. I traveled to England, got lost. During all the meetings, I wound up meeting George on a double-decker bus, and the food was hard, but I did it. Um, I am just so grateful that I've gotten to meet so many people. I can go anywhere. I went to California a few years ago for a wedding, a friend's son's wedding, and I went to the LA, the Grove meeting. I've been to the
1 minute left.
Been to Myrtle Beach. You know, I just want to wind up with saying I'm grateful for everybody who shares how much hell it is out there. I have a healthy fear. If I take that first bite, I'm not stopping. And I can't imagine taking that first bite, that something would be that bad that would take me there, because I don't want to go to that. I am so lucky I was struck abstinent, and I just know I can't do it alone. You know, I need each and every one of you, and I am just so grateful that I was 12-stepped here, and the promises are coming true. Acceptance is the answer. And I do this one day at a time, one meal at a time, and I'm going to pass because I want to hear everybody else share. And I could just go on and on and on because I am just so thrilled with my abstinence and who I am today. And I love me today because all of you loved me before I could love myself. So I'm done. Thank you, everybody, for being here and listening. And I don't do it alone. Thank you.